Hi guys and welcome back. So today we're going to be fitting a cheap body kit to my Audi S4. But hang on a minute, I know what some of you are going to say, but Bernie, you said last time that you'd be tuning the engine, mapping it up and trying to get more power out of it. And yes, that is true, so I'm sorry for that, but some of it hasn't actually arrived yet. And this has popped up and I just couldn't help myself. So we are still going to be doing it, don't worry, but after this is all on. So if you do want to see that, make sure that you are subscribed. Let's get back to that body kit. So I was toying with the idea of getting a front splitter for it, but the only ones I could actually find were about £200–300 at least, and the other ones I came across were usually for a B8.5 or non-S-line bumper. So I came across these a couple of days ago. Someone's breaking an A4 and I've seen these on it, and I messaged a bloke saying how much do you want for them. He said 70 quid for the skirts and the front splitter, and I thought that's a bargain. I've got to snap that up while I can. So I feel like I've got myself a pretty good deal. It wasn't something I intended to buy, but I couldn't help myself. And I know they're not perfect by any means, but I think when they're all sorted out, they're painted up and they're on the car, they're going to look really good. So let me show you what they look like and what the plan is. So this front splitter then, it did have a crack in it, and I quickly put some epoxy on it just to hold it together. We still need to prep it and of course properly fix that. So I did think this was a factory splitter, but it's not. It's some sort of aftermarket brand I've never heard of, made by a bloke called Frank apparently. So yeah, cheers Frank. Anyway, onto the side skirts. So side skirts are genuine Audi and they've got it stamped in there. I'm pretty sure it's part of some sort of rare kit, if that makes sense. Like I think it was like a dynamic model or something. But usually they have these S-line skirts on them and I'm not really too keen on them, to be honest. So I think these will look a lot better and make it look a lot wider at the side. Okay then, so onto the rear. Well, I don't actually have the rears for it because they didn't come with it. Right, so let me explain. Basically the rear spats the guy didn't actually have, because the car it came off was in a bit of a rear end incident and the bumper was completely different anyway, so it didn't have them on. So I called up TPS and I called the main dealer and they don't actually stock them anymore. So for now I can leave it, but I did see a set online on eBay for about 80 quid, so I can always get the rears at another date. It's a bit of a shame, but overall I think the harder parts to obtain are already here. So anyway, let's get these prepped up, painted, ready and on the car. Right, so we're going to start off by addressing this crack here, which is probably the worst bit. Sanding some of this epoxy down, trying to clean it up, then we can fix any of the defects out on it, then we can prime it up and get it painted. So we're just going to start off by sanding the worst of the epoxy down, using some 80 grit sandpaper and going over it again with some 180. So what we're trying to do is just try and rough everything up to give it a good base for the paint and the filler to stick down onto. Now that everything's been roughed up and the cracks repaired, we're ready to mix the filler up and get it down. Okay, so now that's all prepped up, I'm going to wait for that to dry, and meanwhile I'm going to try and get a side skirt off. So I've no idea how this is actually meant to come off, but I'm hoping I can just pull it off. Let's see what happens. Well, as it would appear, we do have a little bit of rot on there. It's taking some of the paint with it. It'll be alright. When we get them on, it won't really matter, will it? On the plus side, at least they weren't too bad to get off. I think they're just taped on. They've got these little clips on. Alright. These little clips on. They're pretty fragile anyway. I think they've pretty much just broke off, taken off. But if we do need to put them back on, it'll be fine. So as it would also appear, I think I need to undo some 10mm nuts or something down here. Undo that and then we can pull that tray down, because I think it's meant to slide under that. So I'll get a 10mm, we'll undo them and we'll give them a test fit. That's all dropped under there as well. Right, so far they don't actually fit up too bad, but I think when they're being removed, heat on this bit has kind of like made them bow a little bit. So as you can see as well, they're not quite flat and it looks like the plastic's kind of bent out of shape from being heated up. So I'm going to try heating up again and trying to follow this line down here, trying to make it go in a little bit more, and that should hopefully make them fit a little bit better. So we'll get a heat gun, we'll try heating them up and hopefully they should fit a little bit better. Right, now that side doesn't actually fit too bad, to be fair. Of course, we just need to do the same with the other side, but I need to get back to sanding first and clean that up a bit, and then I might need to put a bit more filler on. So let's get on with that, and then we'll get the other side off. After I'd sanded the worst of it off and shaped it all up, it all looked okay, so I could finish off sanding the rest of it down with 400 grit before moving on to the next step. Now that it's been sanded down, we're going to use some primer as a guide coat to check how flat it is, followed by going over it with some 400 grit sandpaper. As we can see, after sanding it down with some 400 grit, it's not too flat. The main purpose in doing this is to flatten it out so that when we put the paint down, it's not going to show any defects. So we're going to put another guide coat down, wait for it to dry and come back to it later. Now then, let's get that other side skirt off and give that side a test fit. After the first test fit, it still wasn't quite straight, so I did the same again with a heat gun, trying to heat it up to straighten it out. After the second attempt, it seemed to fit up pretty well. Okay, so that side was a lot easier, to be fair. Preheating was probably a better way of doing it. The only awkward little bit was a plastic clip down here, which I probably need to break off. Apart from that, all good. Now they were all sorted, it was time to finish off the front splitter, as well as quickly roughing down the side skirts, ready for paint. Now that I'd sanded them all down, prepped them all up, I made a jig and they were ready for paint. After all the paint was down, I left them to dry overnight and then went to go and check on them the next morning. So they've turned out alright, to be fair. I'd say the finish is off the gun, but of course it's out the can. So overall they're not too bad. So I'd say they've turned out pretty well, but I'm not a painter at the end of the day, and I'm not exactly aiming for absolute perfection. And I think the little defects on them, they're not going to be too noticeable once they're on the car. I'm more than happy to put one like that, and I think they should look pretty good. Now all we need to do is get them on. Right, so at this point you're probably questioning what I'm doing, and I'm doing the same, to be honest. Anyway, let's get the tiger seal out and try and get it stuck on. And yeah, I might have gone a bit overboard with the tiger seal. Yeah, nothing's perfect, so we'll give that a wipe and we should be okay. Okay, so it's all stuck on now, and it's actually quite tricky to get it on down here. So I thought I'll try and put a G-clamp on here, but I'm hoping that when I take this off, it's actually going to hold off, but we'll have to see, won't we? And you'll never guess what, I've just run out of tiger seal as well, so I'm going to pop out, get some tiger seal, then we'll get on with the front and the other side. And yeah, don't worry, I'm not taking this anywhere. Right, before I go out as well, I nearly forgot to do that bolt up. This is where it pops off, isn't it? Okay, let's go. Right, tiger seal sorted, let's go back to mine. Okay, and we're back. So what I need to try and do quickly is manoeuvre this over a little bit so I can actually fit myself down there. That's a bit better, isn't it? And look at that, we've got so much room for activities. Anyway, I'm going to get that clip off, give it a clean up down here, and then we can get them fitted. Okay, so we've got this side on now. It was a lot easier than the other side. We didn't even run into any issues down here either. I just had to put a bit of tape around here, tuck the edge of it over, and it's pretty good now. So I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then we can start pulling the tape off on each side. Now we've got both side skirts on, it's onto the front splitter. So to get the front splitter on, I think what I'm going to have to do is take this plastic trim off here, because underneath it there are a few tabs on the new splitter that need to kind of clip into the back of it. You'll see what I mean anyway, and I'll show you. But first we need to get this off. Right, so you know, I've just realised, I think I remember when I took this off to wrap it, that I actually had to undo a couple of screws on the back of it, because I've given it a few trials on the back of it. It's pretty on there, so I think we're going to have to take the bumper off to get to the back of it. So let's start taking the bumper off. Right, so yeah, there are actually screws on the back of it, so we need to get them off and then we can hopefully fit it. And I've also come to the conclusion, I could have done it without having to take the bumper off, which makes it even better. I could have just taken that tray off, but I thought they're actually properly behind it. Great. Right, so I've realised after taking that black plastic trim off down there that these tabs are too big to actually slot into the bumper where they're meant to, and this little fitment bit here is way too loose. So I think what I'm going to do is put the black plastic trim back on here, put it underneath, get some longer push pins, secure it on, and then we can put the bumper back on. In some ways it does feel like a waste of time, but sometimes it is just trial and error, and usually error. Right, so I haven't been able to find any plastic push pins that actually fit it, so I've just got to use an M8 bolt, a nut, and put it through, do it finger tight, and that should hold it in place. So I'm going to get this all back together, I'll give it a clean, and then we'll take a look. The big question is, has this all worked? So far, it's holding up alright, so I think that's good to go. There we have it then. I think this looks amazing, and to be fair, at first I was kind of debating doing this front splitter and carbon skin in it, but I'm glad that I've painted it red now. I think overall this fits really well. I think the biggest improvement though has got to be side skirts. I think they look a lot better than the standard S-line ones do, and they kind of cover the whole sill along and they make it look a lot wider. I feel like the only thing that I'm missing now are the rear spats on it, so at a later date I would like to get my hand on a set of them if it's possible, and I think that would just top it off. Some of you might think it's a waste of time and just say, why have you not bought an RS4 bumper for it? Yeah, I'd like that, but you've also got to think this is a pre-facelift and the lights are different, and the ones that you can get for the pre-facelift, they're probably about £500 anyway. So to me, for what we've paid, about £150, this is a massive improvement. To me, this has all been well worth it, and it's one of those things that I'm glad that I've done. I mean, it wasn't exactly expected, but sometimes the best things are unexpected, aren't they? So next time we are going to try and squeeze some more power out of this car, see how far we can actually push it. With it being a manual as well, I'm not too sure how that clutch is going to hold up, but we're going to have to find out. So of course, if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed, tap down below, and of course I'll see you in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit.